Rejection isn't the end. Silence turns it into your greatest opportunity for growth. Rejection hurts. Whether it's a romantic rejection, a job offer turned down, or an idea dismissed, it stings deeply. We've all felt that gut-wrenching moment when our value feels questioned. For those on the receiving end, rejection often triggers feelings of inadequacy, sadness, and doubt. But what about the one who delivers the rejection? They may experience guilt, discomfort, or even regret. Yet, in the face of this emotional whirlwind, silence can be an unexpected yet powerful tool. It offers space for reflection, healing, and growth. In this article, we will explore how silence after rejection can help both parties process the experience. We'll discuss the role of stoicism in turning rejection into a chance for personal growth, how silence fosters self-reflection, and how empathy can soften the impact. We'll also dive into the dangers of overreacting emotionally and the long-term benefits of Stoic principles for emotional resilience. By the end, you'll see how silence, guided by Stoic wisdom, can transform rejection into a powerful moment of growth. 2. The power of silence. Why silence matters after rejection. Rejection is one of the most emotionally charged experiences we can face. Whether it's a romantic rejection, a job offer declined, or a creative idea turned down, it often stirs up feelings of hurt, frustration, and confusion. When these emotions are running high, the natural impulse is to react, whether by defending ourselves, demanding explanations, or lashing out. However, silence in the aftermath of rejection can be one of the most powerful responses, offering both the rejected and the rejector space to process emotions and gain clarity. 1. Emotional regulation through silence. When faced with rejection, emotions can feel overwhelming. The individual being rejected might feel hurt, anger, or self-doubt, while the person delivering the rejection might experience guilt, discomfort, or fear of hurting the other person. In such moments, responding immediately can often lead to regret or escalation of negative emotions. Choosing silence, however, allows a moment of pause, time to calm down and collect one's thoughts before speaking or taking any further actions. This pause is essential for emotional regulation. It offers a buffer between the immediate emotional reaction and the words or actions that follow. By embracing silence, both parties can step back from their raw emotions, reflect on the situation, and respond with greater clarity and composure. In the Stoic philosophy, emotional control is a central tenet. Stoics believe that while we cannot control external events, such as rejection, we can control how we react. Silence aligns with this Stoic practice, providing the space to detach from knee-jerk emotional responses and instead cultivate a thoughtful, measured reaction. Silence helps to separate the event from our emotional turmoil, allowing us to respond from a place of emotional stability rather than reactionary impulses. 2. Space for self-reflection. Silence not only helps in regulating emotions but also fosters self-reflection. After rejection, whether given or received, silence provides the space needed for introspection. For the person who has been rejected, it's an opportunity to reflect on the situation. What could be learned from it? Was there something that could have been done differently? What does the rejection reveal about personal growth areas or future opportunities? For the person delivering the rejection, silence offers the time to reflect on their decision and motivations. Was the rejection done with empathy and clarity? Are there ways to communicate better or more thoughtfully next time? Self-reflection nurtures personal growth and emotional maturity, which is essential for healthy relationships, whether professional or personal. 3. Preventing further damage in the wake of rejection. There is often a temptation to explain, justify, or even apologize excessively. While these impulses may be well-meaning, they can sometimes add unnecessary complications or discomfort to the situation. When we immediately respond to rejection with a flood of words, it can inadvertently escalate the emotional tension or seem insincere. Silence, on the other hand, prevents further emotional damage. By giving both parties space to process the rejection without additional words or explanations, silence fosters a more respectful environment. It prevents knee-jerk reactions and allows each individual the time needed to come to terms with the rejection in their own way. This space helps maintain dignity, emotional integrity, and mutual respect. 4. The Stoic mindset and silence. In Stoic philosophy, silence is a tool for cultivating tranquility and wisdom. Stoics teach that we should not let external events dictate our emotional states. Rejection is an event that lies outside our control, but how we react to it is entirely within our power. Silence is an act of control, an expression of acceptance and emotional fortitude. By choosing silence after rejection, we align ourselves with Stoic principles. We embrace the idea that rejection is not a personal attack but a part of life, and we choose to respond with composure, not impulsivity. This response fosters inner peace, emotional resilience, and maturity. 3. Preventing further damage. Why silence protects relationships after rejection. Building on the previous point about reflection and personal growth, we now arrive at another vital benefit of silence: protecting relationships. When we face rejection, the natural instinct is often to react quickly, to seek closure, offer explanations, or apologize profusely. However, these rushed reactions can sometimes cause more harm than good. Silence, in this context, is a safeguard that can help prevent further emotional damage and preserve the integrity of relationships, whether personal, professional, or otherwise. 1. The danger of over-explaining or over-apologizing. In the aftermath of rejection, it's easy to fall into the trap of over-explaining or over-apologizing in an attempt to ease the discomfort of the other person. However, this can often backfire. For example, the rejected person may start questioning the sincerity of the rejection if they are bombarded with excessive explanations or justifications. Instead of fostering understanding, over-explaining can create confusion and prolong the emotional turmoil for both parties. Similarly, excessive apologies from the rejector can come across as insincere or even dismissive, making the situation feel more uncomfortable than it needs to be. Silence, however, allows the situation to settle. Rather than trying to fix things immediately, taking a step back gives both parties the space to process the emotions involved and reflect on the circumstances. This break in communication reduces the risk of saying things in the heat of the moment that may be regretted later. 2. Giving space for emotional recovery. Rejection can be painful, and the emotional wounds may take time to heal. Immediate attempts to resolve the situation through conversation can sometimes prevent both individuals from truly processing the feelings that arise. Silence creates the necessary space for emotional recovery. For the person who has been rejected, it's a chance to reflect on the situation without the pressure of needing answers or closure right away. Similarly, for the rejector, it allows time to reflect on the decision and its impact, ensuring that any follow-up conversation, when it happens, is thoughtful and measured. This time apart helps prevent both parties from acting impulsively or saying something that might escalate the situation. When we allow emotions to settle before engaging in conversation, we are less likely to say things that could further damage the relationship. 3. Maintaining respect and dignity. Silence plays a crucial role in preserving the dignity of both parties involved. The person who has been rejected may already feel vulnerable, and any rash comments or unnecessary justifications could exacerbate their discomfort. Silence, on the other hand, gives them time to process the rejection in a way that protects their self-esteem. It shows respect for their emotional state and allows them to come to terms with the situation without being bombarded with words that might make them feel worse. For the person delivering the rejection, silence is equally valuable. It ensures that they do not say anything that could come across as dismissive, condescending, or overly apologetic, all of which could further harm the relationship. By remaining silent, the rejector also gives the situation the time it needs to be fully understood, preventing any rash decisions or regrets. 4. Fostering future conversations. Perhaps one of the most significant benefits of silence is its potential to set the stage for future conversations. When both individuals have had the time to reflect and process, they can come back to the situation with clearer minds and a more balanced perspective. Silence doesn't mean avoiding the situation altogether. Instead, it creates an opportunity for a more meaningful, respectful discussion later on. Rather than attempting to fix things immediately and risking further damage, silence allows both individuals to approach the matter with greater clarity, which often leads to more productive and compassionate conversations when the time is right. 4. The Stoic mindset and silence. Embracing control in the face of rejection. Building on the idea of protecting relationships and preventing emotional damage, we now arrive at the profound power of silence through the lens of Stoic philosophy. As we discussed earlier, silence can prevent impulsive reactions and help maintain dignity. But the true strength of silence lies in the control it grants us over our emotions and responses. By adopting a Stoic mindset, we can transform rejection from a painful event into an opportunity for personal growth and emotional mastery. 1. Silence as a reflection of inner control. The Stoic philosophy teaches that while we cannot control external events, we can absolutely control our reactions. Rejection, in this sense, is an external event, something that happens outside of our control. What we can control, however, is how we respond to it. Silence, in this case, is not a sign of weakness or avoidance, but a powerful expression of emotional regulation and self-mastery. In the heat of rejection, the instinct to react, whether by defending oneself, seeking explanations, or lashing out, is strong. But silence allows us to pause and regain control over our emotions. Instead of being swept away by impulsive reactions, we choose to respond thoughtfully. This mirrors the Stoic principle of controlling one's impulses and desires. By practicing silence, we embody the Stoic mindset of focusing on what we can control and relinquishing what we cannot. 2. Embracing rejection as a part of life. In Stoic thought, rejection is not a personal attack or a reflection of one's worth. It's simply a part of life. Stoics believe that life is filled with challenges and setbacks, none of which should be taken as an affront to our character. By accepting rejection as an inevitable aspect of the human experience, we can release the grip of negative emotions that often accompany it. Silence, in this context, serves as a reminder that rejection is not about us as individuals, but rather about the situation, timing, or compatibility. By embracing this perspective, we can prevent ourselves from falling into the trap of self-pity or unnecessary emotional turmoil. Instead of resisting rejection or lashing out in response, silence allows us to accept it gracefully, without allowing it to define us or our self-worth. 3. Cultivating emotional resilience. Silence can also be a tool for cultivating emotional resilience. The Stoics teach that hardship is a chance to grow stronger, and rejection provides a perfect opportunity to practice this. When we respond with silence, we give ourselves the time to process and heal without reacting out of fear, anger, or hurt. This pause allows us to build emotional resilience by teaching us that we don't need external validation or approval to feel secure. Our worth is intrinsic, and rejection doesn't diminish that. Rather than immediately jumping to conclusions or looking for validation from others, we choose to remain still, reflecting on the experience with a calm mind. Over time, this practice of emotional resilience fosters greater inner strength, helping us to face future challenges with the same composure. 4. The power of detachment. In Stoic practice, detachment is a key concept. It's the ability to separate ourselves from external events or the opinions of others, focusing instead on our internal state. Silence is a powerful tool for detachment. It allows us to take a step back from the emotional reactions triggered by rejection and create space for clarity. By distancing ourselves from the immediate emotional charge of the situation, we gain the perspective needed to make wiser, more rational decisions moving forward. In the context of rejection, detachment helps us see the event for what it truly is, a moment in time, not a reflection of our identity or value. Silence enables us to detach from the immediate emotions of disappointment or frustration and move toward a mindset of calm acceptance. 5. Silence as a tool for clarity. Gaining perspective after rejection. Building on the previous point where we discussed how silence helps us detach emotionally and make rational decisions, let's now explore how this very silence leads to clarity. After rejection, emotions can cloud our judgment, making it difficult to see the situation objectively. However, by embracing silence, we create the mental space necessary to gain a clearer, more balanced perspective on what's truly happening. 1. Stepping back for a clearer view. Rejection can feel like a sharp emotional jolt, making us immediately react in a cloud of confusion, hurt, or frustration. In these moments, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture, often viewing the situation through an emotional lens. Silence, however, offers us the opportunity to step back and reset. By pausing before reacting, we allow ourselves to detach from the initial emotional shock. This break in communication allows us to take a broader look at the situation. With a clear mind, we can see that the rejection may not be a personal reflection but simply the result of external factors, timing, or other uncontrollable elements. Silence grants the necessary space to process the rejection logically, preventing us from misinterpreting it in the heat of the moment. 2. Emotional distance leads to rational decision-making. Reacting to rejection impulsively, driven by hurt or frustration, often leads to decisions that don't align with our best interests. Silence creates the emotional distance needed for rational thought. When we remove the immediate emotional charge from the situation, we can make decisions based on what truly serves us in the long run. In this calm state, we can decide how to respond, whether to accept the rejection gracefully, ask for feedback, or take the next steps without bitterness. Silence prevents us from making rash decisions or saying things we might regret later. It helps us choose a course of action that aligns with our values and long-term goals, rather than letting our emotions control us. 3. Reframing rejection as an opportunity. Silence also opens the door for us to reframe rejection. Instead of dwelling on the sting of being turned away, we can use silence as an opportunity to shift our perspective. It's easy to view rejection as a closed door, but with the clarity silence provides, we can start to see it as a new beginning. Perhaps rejection is a chance to grow, improve, or pivot in a different direction. By embracing silence, we gain the time to process and recognize that rejection doesn't define us. Rather, it offers the possibility of new opportunities, better fits, or greater personal development. This shift in perspective turns a negative experience into a powerful catalyst for growth. 4. Gaining wisdom through reflection. Finally, silence grants us the gift of reflection, a time to consider what went right, what went wrong, and what can be learned from the experience. This reflection isn't about overanalyzing the rejection, but rather about gaining valuable insights that will help us in the future. The ability to reflect clearly on rejection allows us to build wisdom and emotional intelligence, which ultimately leads to better decision-making down the road. This reflective practice helps us move forward with newfound clarity, equipped with the wisdom to handle similar situations more effectively. It teaches us that rejection is not a setback, but a chance to gain insight and grow. 6. Silence fosters personal growth, transforming rejection into empowerment. Building on the previous point where we discussed how silence offers clarity and helps reframe rejection as an opportunity for growth, we now explore how silence becomes a powerful tool for personal growth. After rejection, it's easy to feel defeated or lost, but silence provides the space to turn this moment of setback into a powerful moment of empowerment. 1. Shifting focus from external validation to internal strength. Rejection often stings because it taps into our need for external validation. We want to be seen, appreciated, and accepted. When that doesn't happen, it can feel like a blow to our self-esteem. But silence offers the perfect environment for us to step away from seeking approval from others and, instead, focus inward. In this quiet space, we have the chance to reconnect with our core values and remind ourselves of who we are beyond other people's opinions or decisions. By turning the focus inward, we build inner strength, knowing that our worth isn't determined by external factors but by our own beliefs, abilities, and self-awareness. Silence allows us to cultivate confidence from within, creating a foundation for personal growth that doesn't rely on outside affirmation. 2. Using silence to build emotional intelligence. Silence acts as a mirror, allowing us to examine our emotional reactions and responses to rejection. Rather than rushing to justify ourselves, we can use this time to understand why we feel the way we do and how we can respond with maturity and emotional intelligence. Through reflection in silence, we become more aware of our emotional patterns and triggers, which helps us manage our feelings more effectively in the future. Emotional intelligence grows when we take the time to pause and reflect rather than act on impulse. The awareness gained from silence can help us navigate challenging emotions with greater ease, making us better equipped to handle future rejections and adversities. 3. Learning from mistakes and setbacks. Rejection often highlights areas where we can improve, whether it's a skill, approach, or mindset. Silence creates an environment where we can reflect on what went wrong and use those lessons for growth. Rather than becoming discouraged by our failures, silence offers us the opportunity to examine those moments from a distance and extract valuable insights. Through self-reflection, we become more adaptable and resilient. We can acknowledge our mistakes without feeling defeated, seeing them as learning experiences rather than failures. This shift in mindset turns rejection into a powerful opportunity for personal development, allowing us to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable with each setback. 4. Empowering ourselves to move forward. One of the most transformative aspects of silence is its ability to help us move forward. By giving ourselves space to process and reflect, we are not only healing but also preparing ourselves to take more confident steps in the future. Instead of dwelling on the past or getting stuck in the pain of rejection, silence empowers us to leave the past behind and focus on what lies ahead. This shift in focus, from ruminating over what was lost to embracing what's next, creates momentum toward our goals. Silence gives us the mental clarity to set new intentions, develop new plans, and pursue our ambitions with renewed energy. Rather than allowing rejection to paralyze us, we use it as fuel to drive forward with purpose and determination. 7. Silence as a path to inner peace. Finding serenity after rejection. Building upon how silence fosters personal growth and empowers us to move forward, let's now explore how silence can be a path to inner peace. When we face rejection, it's easy to spiral into negative thoughts, frustration, or even anger. But silence, in its purest form, can help us quiet the noise within and return to a place of calm and serenity. 1. Letting go of resentment and bitterness. Rejection often triggers a series of negative emotions: hurt, disappointment, and at times, resentment. These feelings, if left unchecked, can fester and cloud our peace of mind. Silence provides the space to release these emotions without letting them take root. When we embrace silence, we give ourselves permission to feel the sting of rejection without allowing it to dominate our thoughts or actions. Instead of holding on to resentment or bitterness, silence offers us the opportunity to let go. By not reacting impulsively, we free ourselves from the weight of negative emotions, allowing them to dissipate naturally. This creates a sense of relief and emotional release, helping us find a peaceful place within. 2. Cultivating mindfulness and present. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's an invitation to become mindfully present with our feelings. After rejection, it's easy to dwell on the past or worry about the future, but these distractions keep us from experiencing inner peace. Silence encourages us to stay rooted in the present moment, allowing us to feel what we need to feel without judgment or overanalysis. By being present with our emotions in silence, we stop the cycle of overthinking and rumination. We become more aware of how we react to rejection and, over time, we train ourselves to maintain a peaceful presence even in the face of emotional turbulence. This mindfulness helps us accept rejection without allowing it to disrupt our inner calm. 3. Finding acceptance through stillness. One of the greatest gifts of silence is that it helps us accept rejection as it is, without resistance. Rejection is inevitable. It's part of life, part of growth. Instead of fighting against it, silence encourages us to embrace it. In this stillness, we recognize that rejection doesn't define our worth or our future. Through acceptance, we release the need to control everything and let go of the anxiety that often follows rejection. This peace of mind comes from knowing that we can't control others' decisions, but we can control our reactions to them. Silence allows us to find serenity in this truth, helping us to see rejection as simply a part of life's flow, not a personal failure. 4. Restoring balance and emotional harmony. The emotional impact of rejection can throw us off balance, causing turmoil in our thoughts and emotions. Silence acts as a reset button, helping to restore our emotional harmony. By stepping back from the chaos of reactive thinking, silence brings us back into equilibrium. In this quiet space, we allow ourselves to recover from the emotional upheaval of rejection. Instead of reacting in frustration or self-doubt, silence provides the mental and emotional space to restore balance. This return to emotional equilibrium creates a foundation of peace that helps us handle future challenges with greater resilience and composure.
Write your own opinion in the comment section.